Welcome back to Canada's Blonde Moment. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Canada's Blonde Moment. This is your host, TJ. Now, it's not our usual light and fluffy episode today. Sorry, no crazy blonde jokes this time. Instead, I want to dive into something way more serious. If you've been keeping up with the news, then you know just experienced a significant moment in Canadian politics, and not in a good way. So, the federal court has actually dismissed the constitutional challenge against Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's decision to prorogue Parliament. Now, I know prorogation sounds like one of those, stuffy political terms and gets tossed around during political crisis, but it's serious business. Essentially, what this means is that the Prime Minister Trudeau actually hit the pause button on Parliament again. No discussions, no debates, no questioning. He shuts it down and gets a break from facing real accountability, especially during a time when we are in the middle of, you know, that Trump and everything else. Like it's been crazy. But the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, I mean, big shout out to them. Okay. You guys can actually see the whole court decision and everything on their website. So please go and take a look. But they actually stood up for Canadians and took this to court. They basically said, hey, you can't just prorogue Parliament to avoid heat. It's a constitutional issue because, as citizens, we rely on Parliament to debate important issues, especially during times of political scandal. But here's the kicker: Chief Justice Crampton just dismissed the challenge. So let's break it down. Why did the court side with Trudeau? Well, Chief Justice Crampton stated that the applicants, meaning the Justice Center, failed to demonstrate that the Prime Minister exceeded his legal authority when he advised prorogation. In simpler terms, the court basically said, yeah, he's allowed to do that, even if it looks bad or feels wrong. Now, here's where it gets tricky. At the federal court hearing on February 14th in Ottawa, the Attorney General's counsel argued that the court had no jurisdiction to review the Prime Minister's decision to prorogue Parliament in the first place. They were trying to shut the whole thing down from the get go. But Chief Justice Crampton disagreed on that point, acknowledging that the court does have the jurisdiction to review the decision. So, while they had the power to look at it, they decided that the Prime Minister was within his rights after all. Honestly, it feels like we've been given the old political runaround. So here's the kicker. The court essentially said that it's not their job to question the Prime Minister's reason for proroguing Parliament. Chief Justice Crampton said, and I quote, "It's not the court's role to question the merits of or wisdom of those reasons. Apparently, whether or not we agree with the reasons, it's up to Parliament to handle, not the courts." And of course, Chief Justice Crampton reminded everyone about the importance of the courts reframing from exercising undue influence over the other branches of government. That's all well and good, but we're talking about avoiding accountability here. The Prime Minister essentially shut down Parliament to avoid a non confidence vote, and we're being told it's totally fine. Chief Justice Crampton even referenced the Boris Johnson prorogation scandal from the UK back in 2019, saying that the circumstances here weren't similarly exceptional to the case. You remember that one, right? Boris Johnson got his wrist slapped for trying to suspend Parliament during Brexit, but here we are letting our Prime Minister off the hook. So, what are we left with? A dismissal of the case and a whole lot of unanswered questions. In the Chief Justice review, there were 5 principal issues at play in the case. So, I don't know about you, but it feels like the court just did a fancy legal tap dance to avoid addressing the real issue here. They've effectively given the green light for the Prime Minister to dodge responsibility anytime things get tough. Like, that doesn't sit right with me, and it shouldn't sit right with you either. Let's think about what that means for us Canadians. We just saw the Prime Minister get away with freezing Parliament, stopping debate, and avoiding tough questions when his government was neck deep in controversy. We deserve better than this. This isn't just about legal authority. This is about moral authority. This isn't, only about accountability for him, but it's about accountability to the people. The courts might have said Trudeau's actions were technically within the law, but that doesn't make it right, does it? So, what are we supposed to do now? As citizens, we need to demand more from our leaders. We need to make sure that this kind of political maneuvering doesn't become the norm. It's not enough to just accept that the Prime Minister can shut down Parliament whenever things get uncomfortable. We need to remember this day. We need to remember what happened when the courts let this slide. Well, I wish I had a happier ending to this story, but today is a sad day for democracy in Canada. The courts have spoken, and they've sided with political games over transparency and accountability. But you guys, we can't let this defeat us. It's more important than ever that we stay informed, stay engaged, and keep holding our leaders' feet to the fire. So, thank you so much to the Justice Center for standing up for Canadians and fighting this in court. Even though we didn't get the outcome we wanted, you've highlighted a crucial issue that every Canadian should care about. Let's not let this decision go quietly into the night. Okay, guys, that's it for today's episode. It's a tough one, I know, but it's important that we all talk about these things. Remember, democracy only works if we demand accountability from our leaders. I'll see you next time on Canada's Blonde Moment, and hopefully we'll have better news to share. Until then, stay informed, Canada.
We are so glad you came. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye now. Bye. Bye-bye.
That was Canada's Blonde Moment, and I am out.